Keep it. Hey
there. We welcome you into another edition of the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead Show, coming to you from Quaker Steak and Lube here in State College on a Thursday afternoon as we head into what will be a busy sports weekend here on the local front. Some Penn State football news that we can get into. Nice to have the dear Goon back as we have the full team together again here at Quaker Steak and Lube. Talk some Penn State basketball, some Penn State wrestling, Penn State hockey, and who knows what else we may get into over the course of the next hour or so.
Penn State basketball, guys. Right?
First question before we get to Penn State basketball.
Yeah.
Do you like the super wild card weekend setup?
I do. I love it.
So do I.
Awesome.
Yeah, I like the schedule very much.
Screws the winner of the Monday night game a little bit because they got a little bit shorter week, but
absolutely
entertainment value, awesome.
I thought about that, but then they're going to be guaranteed the Sunday late game.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
I will say I thought for sure, just given my luck, I thought for sure the Steelers game would be the late afternoon game on Sunday with the wrestling team hosting Rutgers at 5. It was almost a guarantee. And the first thing I saw or actually heard is the Steelers Sunday. And I'm like, oh, you've got to be kidding me. Like they are actually going to do this to me. And then no, we should be good. If I can get home in the blizzard that is supposedly coming Sunday night, we'll be just fine. Although I think what they're saying now that's supposed to start around 7 o'clock Sunday night. So I think I'll be okay getting home.
With the numbers they're throwing out, it might snow on Wednesday.
Yeah, it's
you get anywhere from 7 inches to 14 feet.
Yeah,
according to the graphs I'm reading right now. The lower level of Beaver Stadium will be completely swamped. We could play ice skating up there on second level up there.
Well, finally get that Winter Classic game.
Yeah, we finally get it.
There you go.
Just pat it down. No, but I am looking forward to the Super 6 weekend. I don't like how they called it Super 6, but now I'm like, whatever. It is what it is.
Depends who's measuring. If it's women, it looks like about 6 inches. If it's guys, it's an easily a foot.
A foot and a half.
No question about it.
We all bite our tongues.
No, I do love the setup though for the NFL this weekend, and I'm looking forward to it. I actually think there are a lot of intriguing games, and I don't think there's anything. There may very well be several blowouts, but I don't think there's a game on there that I'm looking at saying that they're it's a guaranteed. Yep. Yeah. Yep. Which is again the nature of the NFL. And the interesting thing, many interesting things, but among the interesting things to me is the fact that, the Packers were thought to be just dysfunctional, right? I mean, you weren't sure if Aaron Rodgers was going to be able to keep it together. Not only did he keep it together, but put together an MVP season. And the Tennessee Titans are, an unexpected number 1 seed, and I think it's been a while since I can remember. And not that I don't think you ever go in, or at least very rarely, do you go in saying, "Oh yeah, that number 1 seed," pretty much write them into the Super Bowl again because it's the NFL. But I'm seeing very few people that have the Titans in the Super Bowl in these early projections, which. Again, and I'm kind of with you on it, but I also think that is a really – I think when you have a number 1 seed that feels like it's being disrespected, right? It's kind of like Alabama being the underdog. Like that's not a great spot for everybody else. I think if you have the team that was the most consistent and certainly one of the most talented throughout the course of the season and getting a big piece of their puzzle back into the equation and having that couple of weeks to get ready. I don't know. I think there's going to be plenty of fuel for the fire there with the Tennessee Titans.
With your playoff theory,
yes.
How do the Titans fit into that? What did you say the 4 things you got to do?
So pressure the passer, create turnovers, make clutch plays, and run the ball. So, okay.
I'm pretty sure Tennessee is very good at all of those things.
Okay, so somebody brought that up to me. So 2 key ingredients there. Well, 3, really. Number 1, as much as I love Derrick Henry, like coming off injury,
I know.
you just don't know.
Yeah, you just
don't know,
eight
right?
Weeks gone.
And I will also say, if I'm gonna put on the clutch play category, if I'm gonna compare Ben Roethlisberger throwing to the Steelers receiving corps, who am I gonna trust to make the play when they absolutely got to make it on 3rd and long in the 4th quarter? I'm taking Ben over Tannehill.
But I would take Julio and A.J. Brown over Claypool and Johnson.
Yeah, but I think the quarterback's more important than the receivers, right?
Oh yeah, of course. That's what runs the league.
And you and I would both. We'd all take Pat Freiermuth, right?
Yeah.
How cold is it supposed? I have not looked.
Buffalo?
No, Kansas City on Sunday night.
Buffalo's 7 on Sunday.
No, I realize
That's how many
that.
feet of snow there's
Butler
gonna be.
asked me, he's like, "Hey man, you want to come up to the game?" I was like, "No." I love you, man. I'll watch the hell out of it, but there's not a chance in hell I'm going up to that weather. I mean, I'm a crazy, as the next guy, but my God.
Speaking,
the great thing about this stuff is that everybody always overanalyzes this stuff. But one of the things that I thought was interesting that they were discussing on one, and I don't even remember now, it's all jumbled together here because I've been having trouble sleeping. So I'm flipping through all of the sports channels on TV and listening. So I don't even remember now. I feel like it was ESPN, but I could be off on that. But they were talking about the Steelers and the matchup with Kansas City. And the one thing that one of the analysts said was if you go back and look at the history of Deontay Johnson, he does not catch the ball well in cold weather games, which I have no idea if that's actually true or not. I haven't gone back and studied that, but yeah, it looks like.
What do they define as cold weather games?
Well, that's I don't know if it was just below freezing temperatures.
You'll have that.
So yeah, it's gonna be darn cold in Kansas City. It's gonna be down near. Looks like it's gonna be in the teens at game time, at least in the 20s. So, I don't know if Johnson's a different receiver this year. I mean, what he did in the offseason to get his, hands and that whole thing ready for the season. So I'm not.
Well, that 3rd down he dropped the other day.
Yeah, I'm not.
Like,
yeah, but then he comes right back.
Then he comes right back and does that.
And that's, again, you're going to have Jerry Rice, believe it or not, dropped a couple of passes over the course of his career.
Even J.J. Ortega-Whiteside dropped a touchdown pass last weekend, Goon, if you can believe it.
And a absolute shocker. So, listen,
I could have caught that touchdown.
DK Metcalf would have caught it.
The
Justin Jefferson? No? Yeah.
The fact that these games are cold weather, I do think
I love it.
It does test your manhood a little bit, and it's not just. I mean, it's line play, but it's who is able to grind it out in that line play, and it's not always the team that has been consistently better throughout the course of the season. Again, it's a different animal when you get into the playoffs. It's not just the cold,
because you're looking at Buffalo. In Buffalo, they were showing the game that the last time when Belichick set the NFL back to 2 decades by throwing the ball 3 times. And that was because of the crosswinds that were going on in Buffalo.
Well,
and that could very easily happen again.
Right.
And that's where, cold is cold. You can play through the cold, but it's the wind that just completely, it's just so screwy, and it affects the game way too much. Like Green Bay, I don't see as windy. Kansas City, I see as windy. Buffalo, my God.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Green Bay is just flat out cold. I get it. And that's what I love those games. And even in, people are like, well, people in Buffalo and this and that, but 80% of their team's probably not from cold weather areas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're just used to it. Are they? Are they really have a home field advantage? I don't think so. I think the home field, because their fans are crazy, they're out there drinking.
Well, look, they got a tailback from Iowa State and a quarterback from Wyoming.
Yep.
So that's a good start.
Yep. Do you want to hear my Goon's cold weather story?
No. Let's go on. I do want to hear your story.
So it was when I was starring in a good little movie called Rudy.
Oh, right.
So I was starring in that movie. I was the snow scenes in Rudy.
John Favreau, that was originally supposed to be your role.
Yes,
right?
he took it from me.
Yeah, it's messed up.
Vince Vaughn.
That would have been you in those Iron Man movies.
Vince Vaughn jumped in and said, I got to put my buddy in this, and I got screwed out of it. So, yes, Notre Dame in the snow scenes, pre-game. It was 92, so I was actually a redshirt freshman, so I'm playing. And I'm getting ready to dress in for the game and this and that. And I'm like, oh, man, we're offensive line. We don't wear sleeves. So me and Marco don't touch the field. Me and him in the second quarter are literally hugging on the sideline by the heaters. And Joe is getting so mad. Get out of there. Don't get that study. Look at it. I'm just like, I'm blue. Right? My claim to fame is I'm sitting there with Marco, and Marco is like, what's burning? And I looked down, and the strap that you wore, the plastic strap across the Nike shoes in the 90s, was melted. Was melting
from the
heater. That's how close I was. I mean, I literally would have jumped into that heater if I could. That's my cold weather story. It's fun playing in the it's fun playing in the cold.
It's hell standing on the sideline.
It's absolute. Yeah. It's if you're not playing, it absolute blows.
Yeah.
But I love that story. That was my acting debut. led to a lot of scenes, movies.
Your guild membership's still active, right?
Oh yeah, sure. I was in Under Armour commercials 25 years ago. Yep. And if you watch Zoolander,
check his IMDb page.
Zoolander, that's Penn State Northwestern.
Oh, that's right.
And he's like, "Who's winning the game?"
That's right.
But it was actually It was actually the '96 game. So Wally was quarterback, and that wasn't my game. I told you it was though.
Brandon Noble had a hell of a game.
Yes, he did.
In that game. 3 sacks, I believe.
Yes, sir.
He's reminded us once or twice. Yeah.
Who told you that, Brandon? Oh man. No, but I just love this time of year for the. I mean, I love when the cold weather teams get in there because I just love. I had to remind somebody the other day. Remember Tom Coughlin's face when he had to go to Green Bay and he caught frostbite on his face. Somebody was like, I don't remember that. I showed a picture. They're like, Jesus God. Yeah. And he went to the Super Bowl after that. He had still scarred. He's still scarred.
Oh yeah.
The next time they had a cold game, he had all that Vaseline over his face. I mean, that's just crazy. Yeah, but I was funny because last week Butler was like, hey, man, you should come up from. I'm like, there's no freaking way. I'm in a suite, maybe, but I'm not sitting outside of that crap. But I love you, but I'm not going there.
To the point about these cold weather venues, I think that's another way the way they've restructured the playoffs this year has made the regular season more interesting because the one seed becomes way really more valuable, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, guys, they were playing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like, I mean, Kansas City needed to win that game, right? Tennessee needed to win that game.
Indianapolis. Hey, Ironhead, you weren't here last week, and I wasn't here Tuesday. That was the one time the Eagles and Steelers fans were actually
in
cahoots together. We're
united.
The same team.
The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
It's an unbelievable, beautiful thing.
I never wanted to see a tie so much in my life as watching a World Cup soccer game as that Raiders-Chargers game Sunday night. And I'm not going to lie to you. 4 minutes, 29 seconds to go in the game. The Raiders are up 15 points. I'm like, this is over. And I fell asleep. For the most unbelievable ending in the history of pro football in the last 10 years.
Oh, my wife
fell asleep for the last 4.5 minutes.
My wife was a Steelers fan, did too. Oh,
would you not wake me up?
So painful.
I said, why would you not?
She's a Cleveland fan.
You look so comfortable. And I was like, you wake me up next time this happens.
Oh, my God. I've never seen anything like it. So my wife is a Steelers fan. She went to bed too. And she was like, I can go to bed, right? I'm like, oh, yeah, there's not going to be a tie. Wait, what were the odds there was going to be a tie? A tie. They were up 15 with less than 5 minutes left to go.
That's the thing. It wasn't like that was the thing. And I fell asleep. I told Booge, I fell asleep and then woke up at the start of overtime, just like fluky. But I mean, I fell asleep in the third quarter. And I woke up and it was like 14 minutes or something left in overtime. And even then, truthfully, I was telling Booch, I'm like, well, with these two quarterbacks, like somebody's going to score. Like I'm not like. This isn't going to end in a tie as the game is going along.
Field goal.
Oh, my God. This is going to end up a freaking tie.
Is that repayment for the Immaculate Reception, you think? All debts are sealed. Everything is clear.
So that's what I was thinking. I'm like, oh, my God. As they prepare to go to the postseason, I mean, the year John Madden died, how could they screw the Steelers? Right? And then, okay, so let me ask you guys this. Now you're not going to be able to answer unbiased because you have too much invested, but I just do your best.
Yeah.
If you owned the Los Angeles Chargers, Brandon Staley still employed on Monday morning? I'm serious question. Because it's not like this is an isolated thing with him this season. And you've got a guy who clearly can be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL.
No question about that.
You look at all the other things he's done, and then you look at that. I'm way too hot-headed. Like, he would have been done. I would have Lane Kiffin that guy.
Speaking of that, Texans coach just got canned 1 year.
Wow, really?
1 year. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he had I can't even think of the name. Davis Mills, was that their quarterback?
He won like 5. He won a lot of people's fantasy games.
Ridiculous.
Fantasy titles because they picked him up late. But, 3-14 is not going to get you a second year.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, but I loved how the NFL has set itself up now with they know what they're doing marketing wise. They know exactly what they're doing. They know how to maximize their viewing and stuff like that. So by having the 18th game, the 18-week, 17-game, 18-week schedule, one bye, there's a lot more being played for every week, and that's what they wanted because some of those weeks, last week matchups in the past have been
terrible,
just horrible.
And after all that, without the extra wild card team, we wouldn't have this year's 2 Super Bowl participants.
Yeah,
exactly right. Yeah, finally we get the Keystone Super Bowl we've been waiting for.
The Lombardi Trophy may not go through Pennsylvania, but it's going to end up here.
Clearly. There's no other way it could be.
All right, as my question, Ironhead.
Yeah.
Who do you think is going to be in the Super Bowl and win it, or who do you want? I mean, who do you want the Steelers to play in the Super Bowl? Yeah, I know you're going to say the Steelers. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I would love the Eagles to play. No,
I really do hope at some point in my lifetime that does happen. A Steelers-Eagles Super Bowl. This town. When the Flyers Penguins play in the playoffs, this is my favorite place to be to go out to the sports bars because it's fun. I mean, there's such passion and it's just a neat environment. And I mean, you multiply that 10 times if you have a Steelers-Eagles Super Bowl. I just think it would be fun. I mean, more fun, obviously, if I'm not going to think it's as fun if the Eagles were to beat the Steelers in a Super Bowl. But having in this area in particular, I just think it would be very, very cool.
Was it 2001 where they lost to Drew Bledsoe, came in for Tom Brady in the AFC Championship game? Okay, so Philly was in the AFC or the NFC title game that year.
Yeah, there's been a couple of fairly close. Yeah, is that what it was?
So that's the one I'm thinking of. So I was an undergrad at that point, and just that weekend,
was it the Buccaneers,
young buck,
closing out the Vet Stadium.
No, that was the next year.
Okay,
we lost to the Rams. That was kind of like nobody expected us to be there.
Oh yeah. That's when McNabb was out there.
Yeah,
and they miraculously went to the NFC title.
Correct. Yep. Yeah, that was a surprise. But it was the weekend before. So there was merely the potential that there was going to be a Pittsburgh-Philly Super Bowl.
And the Eagles had no shot getting there.
Saturday night,
they did.
I got kicked out of no fewer than 3 house parties for being party to or participating in like literal fistfights between Pittsburgh and Philadelphia fans. I mean, nothing super serious, right? But just like the intensity, the emotional intensity level at that point, I remember thinking, my God, if this ever happens, they're going to have to bring in like 1999 Arts Fest level of like security, like bring the horse cops in.
They should bring helicopters in.
Yeah, now they'll have like drones and stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
They can bring over bars and they can like throw tents at people and impale people in the parking lot. So I've always said this. So there's 2 stories I have about the Flyers Penguins, and if they ever played here, and that would be that there would have to be a line of demarcation. There'd be like a 38th parallel. It'd be like we were. I mean, there's if you ever want to get drunk with your buddies and just start talking, you start drafting bars of what is an Eagles bar and what is a Steelers bar for that week. And if you walk in the wrong bar, you get the tar kicked out of you. And I've always said that Calder Alley would look like the plague just hit Egypt with all the blood running down the street. Because everybody, there would be fist fights and knife fights and everything going on if those 2 played. But that's a great story. Is you got to figure out, okay, we're going to draft bars. You know, what's the Philadelphia bar, and that's the only Philadelphia fans can go there, or Steelers fans. You can only go to those bars. It's a great little. Want to pass some time getting loaded.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Oh, first overall.
You could have like football players who played for both teams announce the picks.
Ooh,
Like a Miles Sanders and Pat Fryermuth both come out and announce the first-round pick.
With the sixth-round pick overall, Greg Garrity. Kenny Jackson. That's great.
Philadelphia selects the first.
Philadelphia.
Oh!
Whiskey. No way! No! Guys get face painter all over them.
We could do a whole show.
I know we
just
could
breaking down consensus favorite. Champs Downtown is going to be the number 1 overall pick.
Absolutely.
But I have been hearing rumors
Todd
all
McShay
day.
has Champs number 1 overall. Bill Piper is bringing in a long shot here. Happy Valley Brewery, Quaker Steak and Lube is a high free agent pick who might go in the late 3rd round. No, but
I'll tell you,
it's just that's who I would love to see.
Pickles still remains a value pick. I'm not saying first round, but whoever gets Pickles is going to be happy with that.
You're probably going to laugh
selection
your
at the end of
booty
the
off
day.
at this, but I always see. I'm telling you, walk into Pickles and they have those big windows there. I think of old cowboy fights when I throw guys out the windows. You know what I mean? That's what those windows look like to me.
It's not the size of those windows.
No.
It's how the fans use those
Exactly.
windows is what it is.
Ironhead is on fire today.
And
Jeez.
Fuego is.
He's all excited about the
something like
Steelers impending Super
Yeah,
Bowl.
no, Booch has me all kinds of fired up. I can hardly wait to see this big upset victory over the Chiefs Sunday night in Kansas City.
I mean,
So let me go back to your question.
It's got to be Champs to Philly, and then I'm sorry, but Permanis has got to go to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that's
That's
what-
what-
that's what-
Permanis does have to go to Pittsburgh.
But what if you get the first overall pick and you say, Philly, I'll take Permani Brothers and totally go on their turf.
I mean, Buddy Ryan is pictured on their mural in there.
We'll call it the Pork Chop Bowl then.
Yeah.
Buddy Ryan in honor of.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to your question and,
Yes.
and lay down some ground rules because I think there's
No rules. There's no rules.
there's a couple different aspects to it. There's who do you think is going to be in?
Okay.
And then I think a better question is who would you like to see if your team didn't get it? Because obviously you and I would love to see the Eagles.
You're going to
You
have
would love to
old
see the
timers.
Steelers.
I'm going to derail just for
No,
a
yeah,
second.
go ahead.
You're going to have old timers. The schoolhouse.
Dra-
Eagles dropped the schoolhouse.
Drafting
Dude,
bars that
the
don't
schoolhouse
exist.
hasn't been around for a couple of decades.
The
No,
train
what?
station has always had the Sixers games on. What do you mean the train station? What the hell is that?
I was going to say the old timers taking the sports cafe would be like the Vikings just passing on their pick.
Oh, my goodness.
Anyways,
gracious.
I'm sorry. Go
They
ahead.
drafted a ball that doesn't exist. Quick, get the pick in. Get the pick in.
Oh, Lord.
Oh,
Mario
man.
Luigi's. What are they? They're still open.
I'm sorry. I
Yeah,
derailed
so, okay,
the,
here's my who. Okay, obviously, we really want the Eagles. I mean, obviously, with Johnny B up in Buffalo, I'd like to see them go.
Yeah, if you take the Pennsylvania teams out of it, as far as other teams that I would like to see, and I have a bad feeling about, and I really hope I'm wrong, but I have a bad feeling about the AFC as far as who I think, but who I hope.
Well, who do you think?
Is,
I'm going to get a phone call once you tell me.
Well, I'm hoping that it would be the Bills in the AFC. NFC, to be honest with you, I'm just not. I don't want the Cowboys, obviously, but other than that, I'm okay with Green Bay. I mean, they've had their share, so it's not like I'm. But if Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay is there, I'm okay with that. There's nobody in the NFC outside of the Cowboys that I'm passionately for or against. I think the Cardinals would be a neat story with, but I don't think they're. I think they may get bounced.
They
quickly
look like
here.
they're falling apart.
Yeah, I just don't think. It just does not feel like the time is now for.
I watched the game on Sunday because I'm a red zone guy, so I had all the games going at one time. Absolutely blew my mind. How many touchdowns did James Conner have this year?
I don't know.
19.
Is that what it was?
19.
I didn't
That's
realize
19
it was
more
that.
than Miles Sanders.
That's
had.
unbelievable to me. I was like, how is this guy not getting talked about as an MVP? He has 19 touchdowns.
Is that right?
He had 16 rushes and three receptions. Crazy to think about, but I don't mind that team. But I don't know if Murray is a PTP or as of it. He's got to prove himself.
I think he again depends on how you define it. When he's healthy, I think yes. The problem is, I think because of the way he plays and his size, that him being healthy is not going to be a
December,
frequent
January,
thing. Yep.
Yep.
And I just think, I think I do think he's big time, but I also think he's very vulnerable. And I just don't see many, if any, seasons where, almost the best case scenario for him, truthfully, or for that team would be for an injury to occur that you can completely heal from in like week 12 or 13, and you can come back, maybe for the final game of the regular season and then be, feeling healthy, at least going into the playoffs. Because I just, I don't know, that's the one thing that worries me. I think he's a big time player. I really do, both passing and running. But I don't.
He's got Hopkins back.
They're
not going anywhere without Hopkins.
Well,
that's the bottom line.
Yeah, but I don't think he's. I don't think it's going to be often that he's healthy enough to.
He is.
No, I think he's a terrific talent.
He has shown me. I didn't think he was going to be that good, and his arm and the throws that he makes at his size, it's just very, very impressive. That was more so last year than it was this year. But then you got Stafford. I mean, is it the year of the Bulldog?
Ooh,
you know what I mean?
How about that?
That's a hell of a defense they have out there. And they got some players out there who, geez. You just signed Eric Weddle after 2 years in retirement to come in and play safety for you. That's insane.
I will say, of all of the quarterbacks in the postseason, it feels like Stafford is the one, right? Because he has, that team is built to win a Super Bowl, right? And you insert Stafford there, and if they get bounced and I think all of these games truly are open. This weekend. But if they get bounced in the first round, the talk around Stafford is not going to be good. Fair or not, justified or not, his fault or not, he could put up great numbers. But if they get bounced in the first round, again, because that is a team that feels like it should be Super Bowl bound.
They pushed all their chips in.
Yeah, they definitely did.
So, I think pressure-wise, he has more pressure on him. I don't know that he's feeling it necessarily, but I think there's more pressure on him as far as there's no other quarterback that you look at. I don't think there's any that you look at, and if they don't fare well this postseason, you're like, oh boy, that's a pretty bad right. Josh Allen's still early enough and has done enough that even if they got bounced in the first round, Joe Burrow, it's his first time. There's just no other. Aaron Rodgers already has the success. It's just no other quarterback, I think, that has that type of pressure. Dak Prescott maybe would be close, but I don't even think. I think that pressure, is
no Dak
from Dallas, maybe, or within the Dallas fan base. But I don't think nationally. I don't think. Well, I don't look at that roster right now and say, that's a team that should be in the Super Bowl. I think it should be in the playoffs, and they got there this year. But I don't look at that now. I think as that defense continues to progress, but I think they're a couple pieces away from that feeling like, that's a team that should be in the Super Bowl.
I see Green Bay as Rodgers, Tampa Bay as Brady, Kyler Murray and Stafford. I don't see Prescott. When I see the Dallas Cowboys, I see Ezekiel Elliott and the offensive line. I don't see Dak Prescott having to be the man as of yet, which he needs to be.
Well, that's a problem when he's getting paid what he's getting paid.
Sure
right
is.
Yeah, right. So that's why I think there definitely is pressure on him. But I think
Jerry wants him to be a star so bad. He paid him that money, and he was like, what he went through last year to this year, God bless him. Good for him.
Despite him playing for the Cowboys, you and I both like Dak. And I don't know. I'm guessing you probably
like
him too, right?
I have tremendous respect for him. And I think
he's a likable player.
Yeah, and he's one of those guys.
Which sickens me to say.
It's always tough when you start the discussions on where these guys rank. But clearly there is a separation. And I don't know how great that separation is, but you have the Aaron Rodgers and the Tom Brady's at the top. Dak isn't there. Now, whether or not he's in that next group or the group below, I think is debatable, right? Whether he's in the B class or the C class, top of the C class or toward the bottom of the B class. And again, depends how you want to distinguish it.
You got to win in the playoffs if you want to be in the B class.
Well,
right?
that's a thing to clearly put yourself there. Yeah, you have to be I don't even think it's just that your team has to win in the playoffs. I think it's that you have to be a big part of the reason why your team won in the playoffs. Like if Dak goes out and is 15 of 30 and Ezekiel Elliott somehow finds the magic elixir again and goes for 200 yards rushing, right? Like I don't think people are going to sit there and say, okay, well, Dak Prescott now is that guy. Like he has to put up good numbers and be, if not the reason, at least a reason why the Cowboys win a game or two here in the playoffs for people to jump on the Dak is progressing and trending toward that elite status.
And then there's the elephant in the room, TB12. You got to say he's going to win the Super Bowl until somebody knocks him off, in my opinion.
Well, listen,
I think how I feel about it.
I think if he wins the Super Bowl this year, he's going to go down as one of the greatest quarterbacks.
They might call him the GOAT. I mean,
there's a chance if he wins.
Gets knocked out. I just don't see him losing. And with that being said, of any upset this week, and I know I'm an Eagles fan, I think that's a game that could be one of the biggest upsets
because they're so banged up.
They're
that's
horribly
the thing.
banged up.
Yeah,
and the Eagles are ridiculously healthy compared to what they were all year. I mean, that is a game that's just
fortunately, all those guys who miraculously caught COVID at the best possible time last week, they're all healthy
11 days before the game.
They just got over their COVID-19, which is great.
Unbelievable.
Impeccable timing.
Jeez.
The Super Bowl I least want to see, second to any Super Bowl scenario involving the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay.
The second least desirable Super Bowl in my mind is Tampa Bay, New England, because the insufferable talking head narrative of Belichick versus Brady that I will have to listen to for 2 weeks, it's already turning my stomach.
Although I will tell you, if it's the Cowboys Bengals, I may not watch it as a Super Bowl because I'm not going to be able to I just can't tolerate it.
Wouldn't it be crazy?
And I like Joe Burrow,
to the 80s
by the way.
If we had a Niners Bengals Super Bowl, that could happen.
Well, it is interesting because I would like both quarterbacks. I mean, I like Burrow and I like Prescott, but man, I just that would be by far the worst. I strongly prefer the Patriots Bucs over a Bengals Cowboys Super Bowl.
Yeah, for me, the early 90s. I'm thinking Christian Okoye playing for the Chiefs this week. In those scenarios, you're like it's Montana versus Boomer.
What a great Super Bowl that was! That was the last entertaining Super Bowl until Elway, Montana. It was like.
There was
Elway Favre. I'm talking about many. Remember that, like that incredible fourth quarter drive where Montana leads them back against
John Kennedy's in the crowd.
The Bengals. John Kennedy in the crowd. That's right. And then after that, it was just one terrible blowout after another.
It was the Cowboys.
The wide right game is thrown in there, and then just like a bunch of blowouts, terrible blowouts, until you finally had the Elway.
Who won the Super Bowl? The Cowboys won 2, then they had one off. So it was the 49ers. They rotated back and forth.
Yep.
And Dion played for all those teams, and Charles Haley played for whoever was going to go to the Super Bowl. That's who he played for.
Yeah.
Yes, they were not good times.
No, those were miserable days.
Yeah, but I mean, Stafford has never won a playoff game. We know this. And you don't have to look that up because Detroit has won a playoff game. I like Drew Stafford, and I think that their defense is absolutely loaded. So I think that not many people are talking about them. But again, I go back to until somebody knocks Tom Brady out, you can't go against him. And then now I think he get knocked out this weekend. So, who do I want? Do I even want no, I don't want the Steelers. No, I don't want them. They cost me a case of beer. Well, that was the Penguins.
No, look, if the Eagles are going to go to the Super Bowl, you know who you want. You want revenge.
Well, you want Tom.
The Raiders.
Oh yeah, Lester Hayes.
Gotta get them back for
Lester
1980.
What's the story about that game, Booch? First ever wild card team to win a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yep.
Truly, truly, truly unbelievable. So, watching this replay of the earlier season game between the Bucs and the Eagles.
Yep.
Then this is sort of Hurts' MO the last month and a half, and that is they really don't start that fast. They've been starting really slow, and he's been having to pull them out late in the game. That happens this
Well,
weekend.
if they want to call over to the Steelers, we'd be able to help you out and let you know how to get off to a quick start and really establish first half presence. Because, boy, if there's one thing the Steelers are known for down the stretch this season, it is, now sometimes in the second half they stumble a bit, but boy, their first halves have just been spectacular.
They averaged 2 points a first half in
masterpieces.
the month of December. Very impressive. Very impressive. No, but I just have that. I mean, again, if they got to stay in early, and then the Eagles have a chance, in my opinion, then they have the NFC East versus Brady, Booch.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's his kryptonite.
I'm telling you, they should dress Nick Foles up, and they should pay Eli Manning to stand on the sideline and just look at Tom Brady the whole time. See what happens. We're here at Quaker Steak and Lube in State College. I've got a lot of TVs here where you can watch the games during the day. You get live sports that are going on during the day, but then a lot of replays too. So we're watching replay of Eagles Tampa, and it's been a while. And I'm refreshing my memory of how many guys who made plays for the Buccaneers in that win who are not going to be playing.
That is it's
Fournette's back, correct?
I think he's going to
so
play.
AB's out, Godwin's out.
Yeah.
Evans is out. Oh, he's back.
Yeah, Mike Evans he played last week.
All right.
I wish he was out. I think he's the straw. He's the straw for that drink, man. In my opinion.
Well, he and Gronk are the only. I mean, those are the two big names that they have left for Brady to throw.
Yeah. So,
to.
By the way, with Antonio Brown screaming and complaining about having to go back into a game because they weren't going to give him his money and this and that. Did you see how Brady acted with Gronk getting his?
Oh yeah.
I'm not coming out of this game until he gets his bonus.
Yeah.
So you don't think that Tom Brady would have done that for Antonio Brown? Antonio is just out of his mind.
Well, and I don't know if you saw this, Goon, but Steven Nelson, former Pittsburgh Steeler, who's with the Eagles now, he was a healthy scratch on Sunday because they were just running the taxi squad out there.
That's a nice move by the Eagles.
Yeah, so he did not hit his percentage snap count.
Because he was a healthy scratch.
Yeah, to trigger his, he had a $375,000 bonus. So Philly paid it to him anyway.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That's classy.
That's the stuff you remember. And when you're in a locker room, that's the stuff you're like, okay, this is a pretty good organization.
And I will say that and this has been talked about. I mean, this isn't any great revelation, but the whole AB's whole thing on Tom Brady's acts like he's my friend because of football. It's like, well, right, like that's the connection, you moron. I mean, like why would what would the owner of a restaurant chain be doing reaching out to you? Like you're not coming in to be a server at. I mean, right? Like I mean, yes, that's the connection.
It's a
no
business.
kidding. Yes, but I mean that's how you make. I mean, as adults, right? I mean, yes, you have friends from high school and college that you may stay in touch with, and yes, but it's usually through business. I mean, it might not be somebody that works at your business, but it's usually through business that you're making connections and friendships with other human beings. I mean, it just I don't know, that whole thing on he's just a friend because of football. It's like, well, right, because you're both
don't really care about me. He
players.
just cares about me as a football player. Yes, he's your quarterback and you're the wide receiver.
Right.
Without Tom Brady putting his his political capital on the line to bring AB first to New England and then to Tampa, the only franchises that would have been willing to sign him after what went down with the Raiders are the absolute dregs of the league.
Yeah. That's just
I'm actually completely surprised he's not in Dallas.
Cleveland? Oh.
Dallas.
Me too.
With Gallup blowing his ACL out last week, I can't imagine why they weren't like, all right, we can have this guy 3-4 games.
Yeah.
Well, after they came out and made such a big deal out of him needing surgery on his ankle, he couldn't sign with another team, right?
Oh, so he did get – you think he needs that surgery? You think that's true?
I don't know whether it's true or not, but they sure acted
be a bad
like
look
was.
if he comes.
Like you can't come out and
says,
say Tampa cut me because I needed surgery on my
and then
ankle.
You start doing cartwheels.
And
then you're playing for Dallas.
Make
the next
20
week.
catches in the playoff. All right, let's turn to Penn State basketball for a couple of minutes here because that win over Rutgers to me, was as impressive as anything they've done to this point, just because of the consistency on both ends of the court, really, and the effort again has been there from the start here. But I know I'm a broken record on this, but I keep waiting for that first sign where I'm like, okay, maybe Shrewsbury isn't all that. And listen, to this point, I just haven't seen the wrong move that the guy has made, and I think clearly he has this team buying into what they're doing. I love the way they play, and I love the decisions that they make. Not saying every decision in every game is exactly what you'd want, but boy, more often than not, they're finding the open guy. They're making taking the right shot. The shots don't always drop, obviously, sure. But boy, this is a team that has the capability of getting red hot. And when this team is hot, shooting, right, like they can compete with anybody.
And if you're not following closely and you're thinking, Hardy, Rutgers, big deal. That's a tournament team from the last time there was a tournament. And they've got two like borderline NBA caliber guys in their starting five.
Yeah.
So they're not a bad team. They were 3-1 in the conference coming in. They are a much improved program over
in the last 10 years. How many times did we lose that game?
Like to that team with basically that personnel.
Under that scenario, up early, this and that, and then we start rushing, gunning up shots and this and that, and we end up losing by 6 to Rutgers. It was like the MO for 7, 8, 10 years. I'm happy to see they're not just throwing wild, random shots up there right now, and I liked how they're working. I think that Shrewsbury knows how. His background is with Purdue and in the NBA, so they know how to use a big man. And I think Harar is being used perfectly right now as like the heart and soul type of guy, mucking and grinding out there. But it's a lot easier to do that when you're hitting shots from the outside. So thank God they're doing that.
Well, and Greg Lee, the transfer, who has been able to come in and play center. It's totally changed the complexion of the team to be able to move John Harrod to the 4, which is where he belongs. Running him out there as a center against the best teams of the Big Ten, which is what we basically had to play so far. Our conference lost to Michigan State, Ohio State, and Purdue.
What the hell was that guy?
7'4".
Huh?
7'4".
It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was like a. He was enormous.
Yeah, but Howard got him in foul trouble.
Exactly. He worked him. And I'm watching Purdue before the Penn State game, and I was watching that guy, and I was like, again, Purdue, if you're a big man, you go to Purdue.
Purdue always has two
they
things.
Are producing
a big man and a shooter who looks like he's 38 years old.
Yes.
I was like, I remember he was number 55. I was like, you talk about NIL deals? That guy's getting an endorsement from AARP after this game.
I got an email today.
He looked like he was we caught him totally distracted thinking about his stock portfolio a couple of times.
There you go. The game. We shut him down a little bit.
Oh man.
Purdue rolled up in there thick, by the way, guys. I thanks very much to all the season ticket holders around me who have not showed up for a game in 10 years, yet somehow managed to sell their game to Purdue fans. These people acted like they had never seen a team win a basketball game before in their lives. They were up out of their seats every time Boilers hit a basketball a shot in the first half.
They're the number 1 ranked team in the country.
Oh well, they were number 3 at the time.
They've been number 1 in this year.
And they lost to Rutgers, by the way.
Geez,
so the Rutgers team we just beat. And I'm thinking, guys, look, God love you. You're from Indiana, Purdue fans. I get it. I know Penn State has more Final Four appearances than you guys do in your program history, so maybe that's why you're so worked up. But yeah, for my God, boy, they were so happy
to be
beating Penn State in a basketball
ball busting pill today.
I'm fired up. The Eagles are in the playoffs.
By the way, Eagles in the playoffs is a complete miracle.
No. Steelers being in the playoffs is a miracle.
No, but if we're
the Jaguars blew out the Colts.
If we were talking about this in August, I said if the Eagles won 6 games, I'd have been happy.
I realize, but I'm saying you go back to last week. The miracle here is that the Steelers are.
Well, the thing with that Jaguars game, I was talking about this with some Pittsburgh fan friends. I was like, of all the wildly improbable stuff that happened in order for Pittsburgh to be able to make the playoffs. The only thing that wasn't in any way implausible was Carson Wentz melting down in a must-win game.
Oh, got to talk to you about that. My little brother called it out. Puppy. He says Wentz is the same MO. He has the best running back in the NFL, but he's trying to play hero football out there.
Yeah.
He did the same thing with the Eagles. He's trying to make every impossible play, trying to drag out, keep the play going just a little bit longer. And I was told by people who were close to the Eagles that was the issue with him sometimes, is that he was uncoachable. And I always tell the story, it's something as simple as a 3-step drop. That's boom, 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 ball's got to go. Carson Wentz would go boom, 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 and then delay, just try to drag it out a little bit longer. And when you do that, you screw the whole timing of the play up.
Yeah,
the safety's going to jump it, or the linebacker's going to get underneath it. And that to a T. That's what he was doing. He was trying to do too freaking much. Trust your team. And he was trying to he used the word hero ball.
The worst thing that ever happened to Carson Wentz. The worst thing that ever happened to Carson Wentz was that play against the Washington Redskins, where there was like a big scrum of guys
came out of it,
and then that convinced him that was the way you had to play, because that worked. Right. Yeah.
Well, that gets you hurt.
So like being able to enjoy their comically bad start. But then him like playing just well enough to sucker everybody in and keep him in the starting lineup so that he got his snaps, so the Eagles got the first round pick instead of the second. And then him blowing the game against Jacksonville to secure the Eagles draft position and send Pittsburgh to the playoffs. It was all like so sublimely Wentzian. I could not have gotten any better.
Manchurian candidate, maybe?
It's glorious.
What do you think?
Maybe
they set him up out there.
Maybe.
It's a beautiful thing.
We were talking about off the air. We're laughing about that was the Jacksonville Jaguars team that was coached by Urban Meyer. The one game that he won in America that he beat this year, right? And that was he had one win in America, and that was over Buffalo Bills.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which
stunning.
Yep, blows my mind.
I don't know. Yeah, this whole season was just full of head-shaking stuff like that, which is why the playoffs are so intriguing to me.
You think the regular season was crazy, Ironhead. Wait, just wait.
Yeah, it'll be. And watch, this is the type of thing where everybody's like, anything can happen, and watch it just all go chalk, yeah. Which is possible, too. I mean,
sure.
Wild
card weekends are usually blowouts. They're usually all blowouts.
Yeah, and it just doesn't feel to me we'll see what happens. Again, I'm always wrong anyway, so they probably all will be blowouts, and it will be all chalk. But boy, it feels going in like anything could happen.
I am thrilled to have the Eagles in the postseason. This has been a fun, unexpected run. Like you said, Goon, it's supposed to be a rebuilding year.
That's funny.
Honestly, the only reason I am giving them much of a chance is because of the attrition on the Buccaneers roster. Like when you look at the Eagles, that is not a team that is ready to legitimately.
They live rent free in Tom Brady's head.
But that is a big part of the equation.
But it is what it is
in the NHL and NFL in particular, right? For hockey and football, it's not the best rosters, when healthy. It's the best team that is able to play through whatever is facing them. And again, the timing on this stuff does matter.
Sure.
Tampa feels very vulnerable going into the playoffs. And yes, I'm with you. You never roll it out with Brady, but boy, they don't. This certainly does not have the same feel of the team that was rolling into the playoffs last year.
Alan just said they're projecting rain down in Tampa this weekend too, and then who could run the football that day? I mean, the Eagles have the number one rushing team in the league right now. That's actually really funny, Booch. I mean, you're a fan, I'm a fan. How they went from the first 7 games was like, are they even going to try to run a freaking ball? To ended up leading the NFL in rushing.
They lost a game where they had 3 carries.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the New England Patriots won a game throwing the ball 3 times.
Well, and Sanders is supposed to be back this week. Is that? Did I read that right?
He's going to try to play.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a hand.
You just worry about. He has ball control issues when he's not recovering from a hand injury. But
we'll see what.
One of the most explosive backs in the league did not have a single touchdown this year. It's just crazy stat to me.
Yeah,
Lane Johnson had one.
Yeah, Lane Johnson, his right tackle, had more touchdowns than Miles Sanders did.
Absolutely. And that's the other thing I want to I gotta mention Maitai at left tackle, Maitalo, whatever.
Malata.
Dude, how he catches a lot of shit because of his drafting throughout the years.
Sure.
But I'm going to tell you right now, that guy went out on a whim and hired an Australian rugby player, and the guy is turning out to be one of the best left tackles in the NFL right now.
How he kills day 3.
Unbelievable. You're exactly right.
If he could do as well in the first and second round as he does in the late rounds.
Hire the Steelers guy for the first and second round, and then have Howie pick the rest of the draft.
Yeah, now to his credit, when his back was up against the wall, I'm no Howie Roseman fan, but I try to call him as I see him. When his back was up against the wall this year, it looks like on early returns that he absolutely knocked the draft out of the park.
Yes.
In April.
This one.
So,
Yeah.
The last two?
Yeah. Oh, my God. Jalen Rieger and J.J. Arcega-Whiteside are like 1 and 2 on my list of least favorite
Just so
Eagles
you
of
know,
all time.
That's the second time you mentioned Ortega, and
Yep.
that's the second most it's ever been mentioned in talk show history that anybody's actually talked about that stuff.
Oh, listen, I promise you his name has been said 7,000 times a day on WIP this week.
Yeah.
I love the guys in WIP who call in, and they're the reason because Howie was listening to him, Jimmy from
Bill from Ardmore.
yeah, Bobby from Fishtown telling Sirianni and those guys that they got to run the ball more. They listened to me. I told you they needed to run the ball more. Yep. Thanks, Bob. Appreciate the
Thank
call.
God he
Long
was
time.
there. Absolutely right.
Yeah, my Lord. But I like what the NFL's doing with the 6 games and how they're doing it. I can't believe I'm watching the playoff game on Monday night. Again, but if it was our team, I think we'd be pretty pissed.
No doubt.
Having to wait that long, but also having to, get 1 day
The
less.
short, yeah. Yeah, the other end is the...
Aren't you surprised it's not the Raiders game because of the NFL conspiracy against the Raiders organization?
Well, that conspiracy, it obviously was against John Madden. So once he went away, then all the curses are good.
Al Davis, I think.
Well, of course,
Yeah.
Al Davis.
I think it's
I
still
don't know.
continuing. Clearly, Roger Goodell set up John Gruden.
I thought the NFL would
There's
schedule
no doubt about that.
That was a hit.
I thought the
There's no
NFL
doubt.
would schedule Penn State on the road for Monday night. Oh no, the Big Ten. Never mind. I got mixed up on my conspiracy.
can't
Yeah,
play.
wrong. That's the wrong conspiracy
Penn
theory.
State can't play. They have 88 guys in the transfer portal.
I do have a question on the Penn State football schedule and the the release, the pullback, and the
Second time.
re-release. Well, so how does the initial schedule get as fouled up as it was?
Because they did the same thing last year.
Right, but they're I like genuinely. I don't understand how the Big Ten offices aren't looking at who your crossover games, right? Like this is all figured out well in advance.
Yes, and you have the
the sorting through the Michigan Ohio State stuff and all of that is, to me, more understandable, not any more palatable as a Penn State fan, but I don't understand how you're not looking at the schedule and saying, oh, wait, no, this isn't, they've already played this team the last 2 years and we keep rotating. Like they know, right? They know that they rotated through.
Well, so wasn't part of the rationale for changing the schedule this year was to make up for lost home games due to COVID-19 in
okay.
2020.
To who lost home games?
I don't know. I can't name you off the top of my head.
If you remember, because I remember last year at the Super Bowl, Penn State released a whole brand new schedule. And the only reason I remember this is because one of the guys I was with, his son was getting married on our bye week.
You're right.
And then that ended up being the Illinois game, and we all couldn't go to the wedding.
And here we are again. Yeah,
and
bye week weddings are in
happened.
bad shape.
And that is
a lot of people plan weddings around. I saw on Facebook.
Well, not just weddings. I mean, we
vacations.
Well, and all kinds of stuff. The Center County Sports Hall of Fame, we do our banquet on the off weekend, and I think have it figured out now. But I mean, there's a lot of stuff.
Yes.
I mean, that like people's lives, and you can argue about whether or not it should, but it does. It revolves around that schedule. So it is significant, and it does have a significant impact when you start changing stuff within the year. And I just,
Well,
I don't know.
I'm going to give you the easy answer on fall weddings. Nancy Reagan said it best. Just say no. I mean, honestly, look, there's 8 months out of the year, folks. Just don't do it. Don't take the risk, because I will tell you what. Be prepared for the schedules to change again in the near future, because I think not this year, not 2022,
Jeez.
but going forward, what we're expecting in 23 and 24, I think is going to get jumbled, because I think the movement to shift back down to 8 conference games is gaining a lot of momentum. And I think in the very near future, you're going to see the Big Ten schedule changed again to go back to 8 conference games.
If you go to a 12-team playoff, right, that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
To go back to eight conference
It is
games.
clear, looking at the Big Ten and the Pac-12 and how it has worked out for them, that was a sucker move to go to 9 conference games, because it's helped the SEC out for sure. It has helped them out.
The reason for it being that you would play every Big Ten team at home or on the road in within your 5 years?
You're saying move it to 9.
If it's at 9, that you were guaranteed to play the other conferences, the other 6 or 7, right? The other 7, you were guaranteed to play.
Right, and how has that worked out for us? I mean,
I'm saying,
Alabama and Georgia have played fewer times in the regular season since 1980 since Penn State.
I can't stand it.
Yeah,
I can't stand how that is set up down there. I mean, but it's set up to win, and that's the thing. That's all they're worried about is win.
I do agree with James Franklin's point that I think you need to try to standardize it across the Power 5.
I agree.
And I would frankly rather see Penn State playing some teams from the ACC and Pac-12 and Big 12.
We have about 3 more years before the whole thing's completely gone. It's done anyway. We're on the downside of it anyway, so it'll all be replaced in 3 years. So plan your weddings for 3 years from now.
The State College Lions presented by Penn State World Campus.
The PSECU Nittany Lions.
Yeah, it's who knows what all's coming down.
No, I mean, I had this conversation with my brothers, and then we talk about it, and it's just like, dude, it's over. Like, it's over. It's like taking your 5 official. I mean, that has changed. I'm just going to bring my buddy Scott up, whose kid's going to Michigan, and his claim to fame, we're talking about scheduling here, right? His claim to fame is that he was on the 84 Illinois team that went 9-0 in the Big Ten. And it'll be the last time a Big Ten team has won every game in the Big Ten. And it'll never, ever, ever, ever happen again. I think it's a pretty cool stat. But we're talking about visits and stuff like that. And, he's going on 1 official visit. That's the team he committed to. And I was like, you're really not getting the whole gist of the university, in my opinion, now. Again, it's a different world we're living in, and the world that we knew that we grew up and loved in college, it's so far gone right now. And, I think we have the guy who's ahead of the game on it a little bit with the portal, hopefully. I don't like it, but it is what it is. But I think that, we're seeing one of the benefits of the transfer portal being our basketball program right now.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I think that James needs to capitalize on the transfer portal, but it just sucks that he has to recruit his team every year. Every year he has to, are you coming back? Are you coming back? Are you going? You're going to go? Are you staying? You going? This and that. It's got to be just draining. Got to be horribly draining.
Yeah, and it's why I do think you're going to see fewer and fewer coaches being at the college level.
Sure.
I mean, I think it's going to trend toward the NFL. Both in terms of firings, I mean, that's already occurred. But I just think you're going to see even more so at the college level, guys say after 10 years, listen, I've made good money. Thanks, but no thanks. I mean, because it is a whole lot that is on your plate now. And again, I get it. They're making millions upon millions. I'm not asking anybody to feel sorry for these guys. But I am telling you, to juggle the recruiting component, which is already a ridiculous, and long has been a ridiculous process, necessary. And again, to be successful, you better do it well. I mean, I get it, and it's lifeblood as anybody who follows college sports will tell you. And no argument, and I understand and agree. But that in and of itself, the fact that you were going to an 18-year-old kid and that your livelihood depends on the decision of these 18-year-olds, 17 and 18-year-olds, and then them following through on that decision and then making good decisions. Again, we're talking about 17 to 22-year-olds and their decision-making process, and that's how your livelihood is made. And now you add to it, again, these levels upon levels upon levels of things that you have to be concerned about with their decision-making. It just, I think it's just a daunting task for anybody to
you have the ability to go to the NFL and you're in college. You go to the NFL, and I know the NFL is even more cutthroat in this world, but but it's
football. I mean, what you're dealing with there is football.
Football. That's all you're dealing. You're not dealing with mommy and daddy worried about playing time.
And I'll tell you, and I've got into
videos
to an interesting discussion, and because one of the things that is going to happen, well, it has happened and is going to happen more and more frequently, right, is and this is across the board. I mean, I'm seeing it with wrestling, and that's what's sparking my thought process here. But you're going to see it, and are seeing it, have seen it, but we'll see it more across the board in these sports. Is it okay? You and don't read anything. In fact, I'm not even going to use the example. Just quarterback X is the superstar coming out of high school this year. You give him a scholarship, he comes in and he plays. I mean, you saw it with Clemson, right? With Trevor Lawrence. Like there was a time, and again, I'm not arguing for or against, better or worse, whatever, just that it is very different. Right, Joe Paterno's big thing was, unless you are like crazy, out of this world, unbelievable, you're not playing as a freshman because part of it was that loyalty to the kids that have been with the program and have stuck it out. And listen, we want to reward them for. And again, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Joe Paterno wasn't about winning as well. So again, if you had a guy who just wasn't producing, yes, you make that switch. But it doesn't matter if you have the top guy who is producing. If somebody better comes along, right, you are bringing them in now, and you're figuring out the scholarship thing. You're helping Johnny X, the third team guy. You're not trying to run the guy off because you know the importance of depth, but you also recognize that is a distinct possibility that guy's leaving. And again, it's when I say you're juggling a lot, it's also, I mean, your job security depends on your decision making. And there's a fine line there. And listen, we're seeing it. I mean, I'm reading things. I haven't been on message boards much in a while, and people are calling me up and say, you got to take a look at this and that. And listen, and it's just, and I will say it is interesting to see different fans' reactions to coaches' uses of the transfer portal. And if you are a coach of any team, of any sport, and you have a chance to upgrade at a weight in wrestling, or at a position in football, or at a position in basketball at the midway point of the season, like you cannot. I would argue. I mean, you can, but your job security is going to be put very much at risk. You cannot just listen. This guy's been good, and he's been really, he's done everything we've asked, and so we're just going to stick with him and not talk to this guy who is a superstar talent. Like, that's not realistic.
People don't want to hear it.
I mean, it's just not realistic. And I think there's, with a couple of programs, it's going to be interesting to see what happens here. Penn State women's volleyball made the hire with Katie Schumacher, and I'm curious to see how many of the girls that were planning to transfer end up coming back, if any of them do. And because she was part of the staff here that, again, seem to have problems for whatever reason, these players and coaches. So I'm not sure. And maybe a fresh start the whole way around is what's needed there. I don't know. I mean, I'm not close enough to that program to know the inner workings and everything that's going on. I do think it's interesting that Salima took the Notre Dame job because. And nothing against Katie, and Katie may go on and have a better coaching career, but the resumes at this point, right? I mean, there's no question Salima's has the better resume at this point, and for a while was presumed to be the next coach. But I think it was a similar situation to what you had with Joe Paterno, where people, you had assistants that were staying in part because, hey, they thought their turn was coming, and then it never came.
When you said that, I was thinking of Fran Gander. I was like, how like I felt like a decade. Like that guy's, oh yeah, Fran Gander is the heir apparent, right? Yeah, okay.
And
does
so
Nick Saban
five more years.
Does Nick Saban send Fran Gander a card every year?
For not taking the Michigan State job? Yeah.
He
How
took
about
it
it?
and then,
How
then
about
turned
it?
it down, and then they hired Saban.
Yeah.
That's crazy to think about.
New England Patriots wide receivers coach Nick Saban. Some little known character in 2022.
Yeah. I don't know. That's all right.
Good weekend, boys.
Yeah. That's gonna be interesting this weekend. See what all happens. Let it all play out. We'll talk about it on
Coach Kadowski
Tuesday.
to take care of the Wolverines for us, Alan, please.
Oh, please. Got to get over the hump here and close a couple of these games out. They're right there, part of the growing process, and but boy, it's frustrating, and I'm sure the frustration in that locker room is palpable right now because they're on the cusp. They just got to get on the other side of that cusp right now.
True that.
We'll be back on Tuesday. We'll break down all of the weekend's action: Penn State hockey, basketball, wrestling, and of course the NFL playoffs. And the Penguins, who should be by next week, should have won 29 of their last 30. It's been a pretty fun little ride here the last couple of weeks when the Penguins have been able to play. Thank you, dear COVID. We'll talk to you on Tuesday, is what I'm saying. Until then, be good and be safe.
Steelers upsetting the Chiefs. Go Eagles.
Lion Country Kia is offering exceptional deals on your new Kia during Kia's Command the Season event.
We have a nice selection on the 2021 Kia Sportage with various options and prices as low as $26,800, saving you $3,000. Or if you demand big power and towing capacity, slip into one of the 2021 Kia Sorrentos available on our lot, starting at $32,680.
Discover why Kia drivers throughout the area come to Lion Country Kia or visit online at lioncountrykia.com.
Quaker Steak and Lube is throwing open the garage doors and setting up the umbrellas. It's patio season. Come enjoy great food, drinks, and fun in the sun. There's always something happening at Quaker Steak and Lube, but we're really amping up our event calendars for our favorite time of year. Visit thelube.com to find out what's happening at your local lube this season. Lunch, happy hour, dinner, or late night, indoors or outside, at Quaker Steak and Lube, you'll always find big flavors, friendly faces, and lots of fun.
Hi, Johnny Broom here. If you're in the market for a new Hyundai or a pre-owned car, truck, van, or SUV, nobody beats a Blaze Alexander deal. But don't take my word for it.
Hey, Goon says tell him Johnny sent you.
Hey, tell him Johnny sent ya.
Tell him Johnny sent you.
Wait, tell him Juan or tell him Johnny sent you?
Tell him Johnny sent you.
Here at Bill Pickles Tap Room, we say,
tell him Johnny sent you.
And remember,